Hey, it's Andrew Bocher with GY6 Outdoors. Time to test one of my favorite sleeping pads on the market. Only downside is it's pretty pricey. This one by far is my favorite currently for reasons we're gonna get into in a second. First and foremost, you can tell it is super large. I'm 6'3", 220 pounds. I need the extra space. I love the extra space. Getting a good night's rest in the outdoors makes all the difference for your overall experience. So having a good pad is where it all starts off of. So this giant beast is the NEMO Cosmo Insulated 50L. It's meant for 2 people, but if you're a larger person, it gives you plenty of space from your head to your toes and comfort with horizontal baffles. We're gonna get into the details here in a second, but it's got Prima Loft as well for keeping you insulated. Like I said, the only downside right out of the gate, I'm not even gonna lie to you, the price. But I could be eating those words here in the future because here soon I'll be testing out a lot of the major well-known sleeping pads in the market, and I might find one that's even more comfortable than this at a much more affordable cost. Let's out the air. Oh, and luckily enough, there's a foot pump that you can pump it up, so that way when you deflate this, you're not completely blowing all of the nasty, rotten, bad breath, humid air that usually you would have to blow into a sleeping pad like we've done in the past. Sleeping pad inside the Sea to Summit stuff sack, it allows it to condense it down a little bit more, and I don't have to finagle around trying to get it to fit perfectly back into the sack it comes with, which is just big enough to be able to hold this entire pad barely, and it takes a little bit extra time. So I just buy a bigger stuff sack, shove it in there, no problem, cinch it down, throw it into a backpack, we're good to go. The top side of the pad has a slightly larger baffle for making sure your pillows don't go sliding off, very slightly, it's not a tremendous difference. The front, they have 2 deflation valves that when you pop those, the air comes out super fast. Make sure those are closed. I've made that mistake before, and you'll end up just pumping your foot on the back side and it takes forever. You open these 2 up, and it is a one-way valve, so you're not letting air back out, you're just letting air in. So you pop those open. If you're in a 2-man tent or if you're in a 1-man tent, you don't have a lot of room to do this. I usually just extend the tarp out a little bit from the door and then stand up outside the tent and do the foot pump and then push the pad into the tent, which will usually take up the entire square floor space area of a 2-man tent, no problem, which is nice because it keeps everything off the ground, keeps you insulated, and you don't roll off into a cold spot of the tent. Stepping down. So that's 3, 4, 5, 18, or 19, or 20, yeah. About 122 pumps with your feet. So it's not a little bit amount of pumping, but you're not using your breath either. So you're not sitting there going, trying to blow this thing up or carrying a foot pump with you or an electric pump. You just sit there, and if you're outside your tent, you can be talking to people as they're setting up. You're just pumping. It seems longer when you're counting. I never even counted it until now. I've used this thing for a little over a year and a half, and I'm absolutely in love with it. And it's always better to start up full inflated, and then you can self-adjust by the adjustment valve that we'll talk about here in a second at the top. Now, the horizontal baffles make a huge difference for overall comfort in this pad due to the fact it supports you in a better way. You don't get that hammock effect. The vertical ones, you'll kind of get that burrito effect where you're sleeping and the pad feels like it's folding in on yourself. This really spaces out the weight and helps you to sleep a little bit more soundly. Hands down, gives you everything you need. Obviously, for minimalistic people, you're not going to be seeing a lot of pro reviews on this because it's like, oh man, I can cut weight. I can lay out 17 napkins and sleep on that and save a ton of pounds. Yeah, but you're gonna be uncomfortable. You're not gonna be insulated. It's just, ugh. Some people can do it. I just can't. I personally like to bring a little bit more weight with my sleeping pad and my sleeping bag. You're gonna have a much better time in the outdoors if you sleep soundly, sleep warm, and sleep comfortably on your sleeping surface and in your sleeping bag. So those are the 2 things I like to bring a little extra weight with. How to deflate it. Pop that. Pop that. It just slowly squeezes out the air like a tube of toothpaste. Even right here to this point, lock down both the little dump valves. Even like this, it's about the size of most sleeping pads. It's a little bit more weight, not by much, but it is a little bit more weight, but you're getting extreme amount of comfort. You can use their reusable twist ties from Night Eyes, one of my favorite products. They're very easy to use, very lightweight to bring. Put them around one end, put them around the other, cinch it down, strap this to the back of your backpack, and you'd be good to go this way. But you also can take it, now that it's deflated, roll it out a little bit, fold it one more time in on itself, pretty much the same thickness as the foot pump in the back. Roll it down from there, and you can stuff that into dang near anything or cinch it down. I personally just buy an extra stuff sack. The stuff sacks by Sea to Summit are some of my favorites. Very durable, very easy to stuff into, because you can get different sizes to be even more room than you need. That way you don't have to spend time trying to stuff a ton of stuff into a little tiny bag. I buy a little bit more than I need and then stuff it down there and then zip it down harder to make sure it is completely compressed. A little expensive compared to other stuff sacks, but they're durable and you can really cinch them down without worrying about the buckles and the material breaking on you. The nice thing about these stuff sacks is you can take what usually is kind of cumbersome and may come apart while it's on your pack or start getting excessive. Rolled out. Oh, this is comfy. I wanted to take a nap. This is not fully inflated yet, and on my side, being 6'3", 220, bouncing, I kind of bottom out. I can feel my hip hitting the tent floor, but when I'm sitting still, I'm not. And when I'm laying down flat, I'm definitely not. Even if I were to bounce and move around, I'm not hitting the bottom of this tent, which is huge. I hate rolling on my side. I'm a side sleeper myself. So sleeping on my side like this with most pads, I'm usually hitting the bottom of the tent or on the floor, or it just becomes kind of cumbersome. This one, having the horizontal baffles, really kind of holds you. It supports the curves of your body, if you want to put it that way. You know, with this not completely full, this is about probably, I don't know, 85% inflated compared to what it could be. And even being here, I'm just barely hitting the bottom of the tent. But leaning back on my full shins, I'm fine. So that's awesome. And what's nice is when you bounce over here, it doesn't shift this side, which is huge. If you've ever been on an air mattress for two people, when one person moves, you kind of get launched off the air pad, and it's never a good thing. And a lot of air mattresses or air pads for backpacking and camping like this, I've always had that motion. This one doesn't have it for some reason, some sort of weird magic. Maybe it's the combination of the material they're using and the Primaloft they have inside of it for insulation that kind of dumbs down the motion to one side or the other. It's technically meant for two people, but if you want some extra room for moving around when you're sleeping, this is the way to go. Sleep is key when you're in the outdoors. If you get a bad night's sleep, your whole trip's gonna be pretty crappy. And I get grumpy, I don't like it. I need to have a good night's sleep. And I hate being tossing and turning and cold or uncomfortable. Having this with a good sleeping bag, it's worth its weight, literally. So I'd rather bring a little bit more weight in these two objects of my big three than bringing more weight in unneeded food or unneeded supplies that you really don't need to bring with you. Even if you wanted to use this for a guest in your house, they're not going to be uncomfortable. This is better than most air mattresses you can buy that are about this thick. I still sleep better on this. It's weird. Obviously, it's nice to have the foot pump. That keeps you from pushing a lot of obviously moist, hot air from your lungs and your mouth into your sleeping pad, which can lower and mess up your overall insulation from you and the ground in your tent. So it keeps that moisturized air out of your pad right out of the gate, which is huge. But with this little nozzle up here, it allows you to adjust the firmness of the pad. So if it's a little too firm, you can adjust that. If you want to add more air, you can obviously pump some more air in with your feet. But if it's always good to start off with more air, and you get on there. If it's too firm, you can adjust it rather than having to go back and foot pump it up. So go more than less at the beginning. You counterclockwise and pull, lets out air. You push down on it, and then clockwise turn, and it locks up. I'll leave links in the description of this video if you are interested in this. The 50L is a lot more expensive than the single person one, but they have the same benefits as this, just not as wide. Not cheap, but thank God for our patrons over at patreon.com/GY6Outdoors. Thank you for supporting. It allows us to purchase things like this and get our hands on more expensive products to test them to see if they're worth your hard-earned money before you go spend it on the product and have it fail in the outdoors. Hope you appreciate the videos, guys. If you haven't already, go check out other playlists right here. This is Andrew Bocher with GY6 Outdoors. I'll see you soon. Later.